Greetings, fellow firefighters. This is Chief Chuck. Today we're going to be talking about how to create an asset. The first thing to do is to make sure that one doesn't already exist. You don't want to create a duplicate asset. So, our fictitious business today is Acme Manufacturing at 123 Main Street. I'm going to search by both just to make sure it's not already in the system. So I'm going to search for 123 Main. And it says no locations found. Now I'm going to search for Acme. And it did find an Acme brick over on Singleton, but not an Acme Manufacturing. So I can be relatively sure there is no Acme Manufacturing at 123 Main Street. So we're going to go ahead and create the asset. And we do that by going over here to the Data Management tab and clicking Assets, List. This brings up a list of all our assets. Go ahead and maximize the screen here. And you can see down here at the bottom, we're seeing 1 through 20 of 3,342 assets in the city of Dallas proper. And we're going to go ahead now and click the blue button that says Create New Asset. And this is our form with several different tabs. We start on the General Information tab. And the first thing to notice is that this has a little red asterisk by name. Everything with a red asterisk is required. It will not accept it without an entry there. So we're going to start with Acme. At 123 Main, Dallas. State is already entered. I'm going to leave the zip code and the county blank. Notice I also did not put a street type. I try to give it just a minimal amount of information, and it's going to try to geo-validate the address. This seems to work well when we give it just a minimal amount of information, and then we'll see what it comes back with here in a minute. As for jurisdiction, in this case it happens to be clearly downtown Dallas. I'm going to click downtown Dallas district. But you don't have to really worry too much about this. In fact, I recommend that unless it just jumps out at you, oh yeah, this is in Fair Park or in downtown or in Deep Ellum, just click other Dallas districts. This is not really something that is important to us, so I don't want anyone to waste a lot of time trying to figure out, is it really Fair Park or is it more Deep Ellum? You can put it in the district if you're sure what it is, but it is absolutely not critical. It's always okay to just put other Dallas districts. Sector and subsector have to do with Department of Homeland Security Infrastructure Taxonomy. The full text of that document is over here under DHS Infrastructure Taxonomy. We also have a cheat sheet though. That cheat sheet can be found on the fire department homepage, which if we go to the GIS page and then search for forms, right here, sector, subsector, cheat sheet, that gives us quite a few locations telling us exactly what we would want to use for our sector and subsector. In this case, let's say it's a apartment complex. Sector would be commercial facilities, subsector real estate facilities, segment residential unit, and subsegment multi-family residences. Notice that only the first two are required. Fill out as far as you know, but if you only get to the first two, that's okay, that's what's actually required. We do not put anything in asset type. In fact, that is non-functional. We don't use NAICS code. Priority, that's really a police thing. We're not too concerned about it. The important thing is to put something there because it's required. And so what we're going to do is if it's a high rise, we're going to make it a priority 3. And if it's not a high rise, we'll make it a priority 4. In this case, we're going to assume that it's a maybe an 8-story apartment complex downtown. And so being 4 or more stories, we'll make it a priority 3 high rise. Then we come down to fire department category. Always put it in the highest one that fits. So even though this is an apartment complex and we've got a couple of choices for apartments, we said it was going to be 8 stories. So we're going to go with the highest one that fits, which would be the Class 1 high-rise over 7 floors. And that's the last thing we fill out on this tab. We leave premise ID blank, pre-plan reference blank, or if something's already there for one that you're reviewing later, you can leave whatever is there. But when you're creating one new like this, don't put anything there. Don't do anything with security assignments. Just come up here at this point and hit save. It's going to try to geo-validate the address. Now what it found was a match on West Main, which in this case we'll say that's okay, and we'll allow it to update the address. And once it updates the address to something it recognizes, it's going to give us all this geo-validated information from our maps that help us know that it's in Division 2, District 1. Station responsibility area is 45-3, which this year falls under B shift, and some additional information. This concludes part 1. We'll talk about the other tabs and what to do if it doesn't geo-validate in part 2.